responsible for the deaths of thousands of American citizens. So when people are siding with these folks that have killed thousands of American citizens, members of our own government, I think it's shameful. We've got to understand that we want the Persian people, the people of Iran, to be able to live peacefully in the region and become a stabilizing factor in the Middle East, not a destabilizing factor in the Middle East. President Obama sent them billions of dollars in hard cash, and President Trump is dealing with them appropriately. This stuff must stop. They're the world's largest sponsor of terrorism.
Yeah.
And enough is enough.
Understood. And so do you think that this war can be won? Can this operation be won?
Welcome in, New York.
To be done. Sounds like you're looking for more.
No, I'm not.
Maybe,
I'm not
Mike.
For more at all. I do not support
Maybe
members of the United States military conducting ground combat operations in Iran. Period.
All right.
I do not.
Okay, very well.
I'll bring everybody up to date real quick, guys. We're going to listen in. Iran.
Just airstrikes.
Hold on one second. Getting different stories here.
Okay.
The Iranian people have been under the thumb for 47 years of this radical regime that's responsible for killing tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of their own people.
So just update everybody. We were live last night when this broke. Unexpected as Trump is, you just don't know. But I did say Trump likes to attack on weekends. Late last night during the daytime, about 11:30 morning, 12 p.m. Thanks for being here. Those who were here last night as we broke the news. But since then, since last night, as Trump came on and says, we are at war. He used the words, not me. All right. So Trump, I quote, we are at war. Protect yourself. Alluding to Iranians. Majority of them are happy. But since then, Iran now has attacked Israel and U.S. bases. So what's happening is they have nothing to lose. There is nothing to lose. You guys understand? If there's one person left in Iran, then he's going to be all in. So like just for conversation, if you were by yourself, forget it. Thank you for the breakfast, Maribel. So this is breaking. This could end up being a very serious situation, folks. I'm just letting you know. Ozzy Crosby, how are you? Thank you so much, Ozzy. Appreciate you. When I say serious, not an attack on United States soil. But when I say serious, this is not going to be hours. This could go on. Could. Maybe not. Go on for days. Because they got majority of the regime. The problem is now, Big Roger, is who is left? Who is left? So if there's one or two people left, they're going to go all in. I mean, think about it. I was going to say, if you're by yourself and you're fighting for your life, I'm referring to the regime, then you're going to do everything possible. But I know Marco Rubio knows that. President Trump knows that. But we are still on alert, guys. This is an alert. So once again, U.S. So now Iran has launches, strikes, as you can see right here. Breaking news here. So it's not going to be one of those. I just want to bring everybody up to date. I don't want to worry anybody. I don't think we have much to worry about. But it's not one of those where we just take out the nukes. The Iran nukes that we did a few months ago, okay? This is more about the regime and who the hell is there, who's left. And then, of course, when that's all over with, we have to, now listen, there's sources out there saying that President Trump has already put in a new regime. Let me just say this. Well, it's not true. It cannot happen that quick. So I'm sure President Trump and the U.S. And Marco Rubio have an idea of who they're going to put in, but at this point, their whole main target is taking out each and every one that have been hurting the Iranian people for many years. So when that's accomplished, then they'll move in and have the people or whatever get this regime changed. So it's not that easy. This could go on for days. I don't think it's going to be months, but could be days or a week or a little bit longer. Once again, guys, keeping everybody up to date. Last night, breaking news as Israel first attacked Iran. Shortly after that, United States, President Trump sent missiles and then came on and did an incredible, strong speech to warn the regime. Now, I know this is politics, and I don't think we should make it politics, but I know there's a lot of different takes on this. For an example, I have a Trump supporter. He's a very good friend of mine. And he is backing up President Trump because he voted for him, but he's a little worried. So everybody has their different. Let me turn the camera around here. Hello, you guys, and happy Saturday. Hope you guys are doing well. So everybody has, which we should have their own theory on what's going to happen. I will just tell you this. I'm very confident that the people around President Trump, like Marco Rubio, I continue to say Marco Rubio, very, very smart individual. And I believe they've been working on this. Not just 2 days ago, not just a month ago. The United States and President Trump have been working on taking out the regime now for a while, just like they did in Venezuela. But Venezuela was much. This is not Venezuela. Venezuela was more like Little League. Now we are talking Major League, NFL. Now anything at any point we can lose military. So our deepest prayers with the military. Let me get another news outlet on. I'm trying to go back and forth. It seems like Fox has the coverage that well, that was earlier today. Hold on. Let's go back to Fox. All right. Iranian. Oh, here we go. Sirens and sounds across Israel.
Servicemen and women could be lost in this mission, and
let's listen in, guys.
There's really no way to guarantee that it will be a quick hit.
Is there a risk that strikes
Here we go.
could turn into a long, drawn-out conflict in the Middle East? I guess you could say there's always a risk.
Always a risk.
When there's war, there's a risk in anything, both good and bad. Look, it'd be wonderful if they negotiate really in good conscience, good faith and conscience, but they are not getting there.
President Trump also told us yesterday, before he left for a political rally in Texas.
Hello, Crystal. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, Janine, Mike, our moderators. Thank you.
Nobody has briefed him.
Maribel, thank you.
That strikes like these would definitely guarantee regime change in Iran. There is nobody here who has put a high probability on that, or at least not a certainty on that. Something else that we are learning, as we were just replaying the president's remarks from overnight, an FBI official reached out to let me know that counterterrorism and
Cooper.
teams have been put on high alert.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. God bless.
Just in case there is any kind of retaliation from Iran or their proxies here in the United States. Dana.
And Peter, do you think that we would see the president again today?
I think so.
It's possible. He initially, there was some talk about him maybe attending a fundraiser later in the evening. We don't know if he still plans to attend it, but there's no plan for him to address the nation from Mar-a-Lago. So it's possible the next time that we see him is when he comes back to the White House tomorrow.
Okay, Peter, let's go through the time frame this past week. Just took the past 5 days, in fact. On Tuesday, you had Marco Rubio meeting with those 8 senators on Capitol Hill.
Listen in, guys. Just a recap so far up to date.
Think about how many events we have watched over the past 5 days. And the Democratic senators came out to the microphone, and they reacted with a lot of concern, frankly. And then you had the President of the United States in his State of the Union that evening talk about Iran must say we will not have a nuclear weapon. And you had this 10-day deadline that was running, and it looks to me on the calendar like the U.S. and Israel hit on day 9 of that day 10 calendar. And you had reporters like Mark Halperin filing photos earlier today. While we were watching the president in Corpus Christi, Texas on Friday afternoon, you had General Kane, you had the Department of War, head of the Department of War, Pete Hegseth, all arriving in Palm Beach, Florida on separate planes on Friday afternoon. And how much of that were you observing from the White House? And how much of a heads up did you and others have toward the possibility of action in the middle of the night?
President Trump was pretty candid over the last couple of weeks that he felt if the negotiating team that was meeting with Iran or meeting with middlemen who were talking to Iran, if things were not going well, then he would just order another mission like Midnight Hammer. Obviously, this one is much more widespread, but President Trump was not really keeping any of this a secret. He was very candid.
Welcome in, Disney. Welcome in, my
He was
friend.
not satisfied with the way that negotiations were going, and he felt like he needed to leave all options on the table publicly. And so this is something that the whole world could see it. It's just you never really know when the president is going to do things because.
Welcome in, guys. We are
again,
looking
this
at
is a
live
president that you can ask him
images
about anything, and he'll
from
give you a candid. Blunt answer.
Iran and Israel, as we had overnight hours in the West Coast, East Coast.
But it would appear
pretty much as President Trump says, we are at war. These are his words, not my words. Okay? Somebody called me out last night, and I'm just telling you what President Trump says. We are at war.
So, as far as the planes that were there down in Palm Beach, it's not uncommon to see extra blue and white planes like that when the president is in town, just because he does travel with a lot of staff, and it's not out of the ordinary for John Ratcliffe or J.D. Vance to pop in for a meeting.
Got it, Peter. Thank you. We watched that exchange when the president left the White House yesterday with you and President Trump. Thank you, Peter. Before we go to break, Dana, just a couple of things that are very interesting. It's Ramadan now in the Islamic calendar, and
all right. So what's going on? So they're going to be taking a break. So I'm going to turn the camera around. So what's going on? So. Hello, everybody, and welcome in. Hey, thank you, moderators. We got all the moderators on here, so appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. What is the channel about? We talk about the latest updates. We cover crime scenes. We take care of homeless, and we're covering certainly a war. And somebody called me out last night and aggravated my wife. It aggravated me. I'm going to call it as it is. It is a war, right? And they asked the question, yes, anytime you have war, you get problems. But I just want to buckle everybody in to relax on this weekend. They still have nuclear facilities. Remember, we wiped them out. The problem is now they're going to be desperate. And if there's a few of the regime left, I think there's one or two left, they're going to be very desperate and could be capable of doing anything possible. And you have the U.S. Boats right here. And these missiles will be flying, I believe it's right in here. Could be flying, because you see here is Iran. So yeah, anything's possible. They can hit our military base. You know, we can lose some men and women. We can lose men and women in this, but this was a long time coming, and people sign up to the military knowing that these risks can come into play. Let me just say this, guys. What you have is the Iranian people. Everybody looks, in my opinion, as Trump like this mean man. Trump was listening. These people were desperate. These Iranians, these Persian people who have family here, okay? They were desperately now for many, many years to have freedom. They want their freedom. Imagine being a woman. Imagine walking around town and you can't even get your nails done. And in the latest, the protests, they were just eliminating people. Imagine you're out there protesting and they're just shooting you down. So they're begging the United States and President Trump for your help. And they've been doing this now most recently for the last 2-3 months. We've all a lot of us kind of drifted away on this because of other breaking stories and news that have been certainly out there with the protests and the missing of Nancy Guthrie. But make no mistake, they've been working on this. Trump has normally done this at nighttime, but this time he switched gears and went during the daytime. Now, a couple things. Could he did it to confuse them? Maybe. I just think the timing was right. You're going to hear the media saying, well, it was to kind of throw them off. Maybe. I think President Trump got the sources from Marco Rubio, who's doing a fantastic job, said, hey, this is the time. And the people are saying it's now or never. When I say now or never, meaning if we didn't do this last night or like in the next couple of days, then it would get worse. So that's where we're at as they're on a commercial break. So now Iran is striking back. How much do they have? How many missiles? I don't think anybody really knows. Maybe, I'm sure President Trump and Marco Rubio and U.S. military has an idea, but I don't think we really know how much. And we do know what? What do we know? What do we know? We know we took out their the nukes. We took out their facility, but they still have backups. They still have other facilities. How much more? We would hope that what President Trump and the U.S. military is doing, they feel very confident, whatever they have left. Sure, we can hit some of our military bases, and certainly our prayers and thoughts to our military, but to actually hit the United States. Now, will we have boots on ground? Will the United States physically have boots on ground in Iran? And the answer to that, in my opinion, I could be wrong, will probably be no. I would say there's a 1%, maybe 5% chance of that happening, maybe a little higher. I would say this is all going to be airstrikes and from our air attacks. And we certainly have our boats out there, and these missiles will be flying over the U.S. base that sits right there between Israel. Israel could have some problems, but they know what they got into. So that's where we're at, folks. Now, I know people are going to come in and make this political, and that's fine. But for me, and we know that some of the certain news outlets are going to make this political. Certain Democrats are going to make it political, maybe even some Republicans. But it's simply, we know this. Wars are complicated. Wars are very dangerous. Some in here would say we shouldn't get involved. That's not up to me. That's not up to me. That's up to you guys. Like I said, I have a very conservative friend who supports President Trump, and he's not so sure we should go into this. That's a perfect example. I have a Democrat friend who thinks, yes, we should get into it. Absolutely. He says, but I hope President Trump has a plan. See, that's the whole thing. Does the United States have a plan? In the chat? Yes or no? Do you think President Trump is going into this and having a plan, a backup on who the regime will get in and what's going to happen with that? That's the question I have this morning. Yes or no? Will President Trump have a plan? Welcome in, Summer. Appreciate you being here. And let me say hello to the Blue Baron 27. Hey, Blue Baron was in here last night. I appreciate the Blue Baron, and Janine was up late with me last night. Thank you. Whoops, it would help put the volume on.
Is dead by falling missile debris. Iranian state media, meanwhile, saying that regime had targeted American military bases in Qatar, in Bahrain, and in the United Arab.
Big Roger, thank you so much. Appreciate your donation. Thank you for the gift. Thank you.
Here, Dana.
Let's get to the State Department now, where senior foreign policy correspondent Jillian Turner has an update for us. Hi, Jillian.
Hi, Dana. So the country is now at war with Iran's regime, but President Trump's chief diplomat, Secretary Marco Rubio, is very much involved. He is huddling with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago today. There are hundreds of thousands of Americans living in and traveling in the Middle East today. He's launching this task force to try and, he says, help as many of them who are in harm's way as possible. We're also getting new sound now from Iran's foreign minister, who appeared to tell another network today that before the U.S. strikes, they believed, the Iranians believed, they were this close to getting to a deal with the U.S. That's certainly not something officials here in D.C.
Look, guys, real quickly, I'm sorry, I got to lower this a little bit. I would take Iranian news as a grain of salt. You guys know what I mean? You heard what he said. They were close to making a deal. I don't believe anything they're going to say. I wouldn't believe that they're going to sit down and surrender. You can't trust the regime of Iran. Let me just put that out there. Sorry about that.
On all, quote, Muslim nations to come to Iran's defense and face off against the U.S. and Israel together. So far, though, it sounds like most of those nations are not biting. Take a look at this from Saudi Arabia. They say the kingdom
they had no
condemns
deal.
and denounces
Absolutely.
in the strongest terms the brutal
No deal. Now
Iranian
we're even
aggression
close to a
and
deal.
violation of the sovereignty
Hey, welcome
of
in,
UAE,
Aaron
Bahrain,
Scott,
Qatar,
1950.
Kuwait,
Thank you for help
and
moderating.
the Kingdom
Thank you.
of Jordan. Not stacking up in favor of the Iranians there. The Europeans are all also weighing in now. Dana, take a listen to Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
The United Kingdom played no role in these strikes. But we have long been clear. The regime in Iran is utterly abhorrent. They have murdered thousands of their own people, brutally crushed dissent, and sought to destabilize the region.
So Iran is also now, Dana, requesting an emergency session of the Board of Governors for the IAEA. That's the nuclear.
Kathy
watchdog
says you bet your ass
UN.
Trump has a
We don't
plan.
know yet whether they're
Not
going
worried
to
at
get
all.
that or not. But they are certainly
Not
making
worried at all,
requests. Dana.
Kathy
Julian
says.
Turner, please keep us posted. A busy day over there.
Okay, so it's coming up on 8 o'clock in Israel. We'll get you back to Tel Aviv momentarily. But first, let's get a quick timeout here in our coverage. We'll
All right, so they
continue
take a
the very latest
timeout.
headlines
We
as
will
get
turn the
them
camera
and
around.
understand them across the region. Coming up when we come back.
Yeah, so Kathy says you bet your ass.
The crisis inside Ukraine.
What we're talking about is a plan, because that is the biggest concern among us, right? I mean, really, the United States. And that was, by the way, we were listening to the UK Prime Minister. I guess I'll keep my thoughts to myself on that. But he made it clear that they were not involved, which is pretty common. So yeah, I was just talking about a plan, and we're gonna go to News Nation here. The problem is, though, well, it's not a problem, just my thoughts. If you have a plan, and their plan is A, B, and either one of them works out, then what? You know, so, and when I say a plan, is who will they put as a leader or regime to kind of straighten out, because we obviously can't do it. United States can't do it. You can't have the people do it. And this is a little bit more complex than Venezuela. Hey, you guys want to hear Trump? If you haven't heard President Trump earlier, this was President Trump a little earlier. This morning, actually.
In international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have
Here's the big man.
soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and it.
So he's made it clear there twice, guys. They can never, when he says they, Iran can never have any nuclear facilities today, tomorrow, yesterday, our future, well beyond when we're gone in this planet. So, I mean, I don't know how you can disagree with that.
After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime.
So
would
well
be
said,
if they
Janine.
ever had
Iran can make a
and
deal.
actually
They
were
still
armed
can. They
with
still have a chance.
nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We're going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible
No
step
sleeping
to
here.
minimize
Keep
the
it buck.
risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members
Is that
of
right,
the
Aaron?
Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces,
Come sta molto
and
bene,
all of
eh?
the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have
All right, lay down your weapons, he says. This was Donald Trump last night, folks. A lot of us were on in the morning hours of Saturday morning. And he came on briefly after the strikes of Iran. Now, what has happened since then? Well, right now we have Iran is striking back. And as Janine said a little while ago, they can still make a deal. They simply are not going to do it. They haven't made a deal in years. Let me go back to Fox here. They haven't made a deal in years. And what makes you think they're going to make a deal now? But this is a little bit more complicated than 100% than Venezuela. I just want to share that with everybody.
General David Petraeus, tell me how this ends. Among the initial targets, the Supreme
Here
Leader
we go.
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's compound, which can be seen in satellite photos as mere rubble. It's not clear whether the Ayatollah was there at the time, but Fox has learned that underground bunkers where the top leaders often meet were targeted. There are more than a dozen of these bunkers underground in Tehran. Israeli military officials tell my colleague Trey Yanks that 3 sites where the senior leaders were meeting were struck simultaneously in the first wave of attacks. Perhaps the reason why the strikes took place during the day, even though it is more typical for such strikes to happen at night. The same military officials said the U.S. Army and IDF worked for thousands of hours to build an extensive target list. Tomahawk missiles were used in the first volley of strikes,
LGBT for
likely
Trump.
fired
Welcome in.
from the U.S.
God bless.
destroyers traveling in the North Arabian Sea with the USS Abraham Lincoln, or from the USS Georgia, the Ohio-class submarine, which has 154 Tomahawk missiles on board. Iran still has a large number of mobile missile launchers and a navy capable of mining the Strait of Hormuz. Fox News
This has been
learned
going
the US
on for
military
40
used
plus
some new
years.
capabilities
And
in
that
these
is
strikes.
correct.
For the first time, it used
40
one-way attack
plus
drones in
years,
combat.
folks.
Other targets in the initial wave, the Defense Ministry, Iran's parliament, the National Supreme Council, the Ministry of Intelligence, Iran's Atomic Energy Agency, as well as naval bases down near Bandar Abbas and Kark Island, along with targets in Bushehr. In the eastern part of Iran, U.S. missiles struck the IRGC aerospace forces, part of Iran's ballistic missile and satellite program. Among the top Iranian leaders targeted, Iran's president, the defense minister, and the head of the judiciary, who has issued death sentences to thousands of Iranian protesters. The former Iranian president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, also targeted. He once famously vowed to wipe Israel off the map. His home was struck. The president called for the Iranian people to rise up and overthrow their leaders. President Trump did, that is. I remember at the start, Bill, of the Arab Spring in 2011, when the people of Syria tried to overthrow Bashar Assad. That led to a 14-year civil war and 600,000 dead. Bill?
Jennifer, take us through the logic from a military
Yep, hiding like a
perspective as to
coward.
Why you
Baron,
carry out a
hiding
raid
like a
this
coward.
in
You're right.
daylight hours. As we pointed out last hour, it seemed to me, based on the clock, that it was slightly before noon local time in Tehran, Iran. What would be the logic to do it in daytime?
Well, I think, one, the element of surprise. Two, they weren't that fearful, it seems, of the air defense systems, which had been degraded quite a bit last summer. They still have air defense systems that had to be dealt with, but they could deal with those with Tomahawk missiles. But most importantly, I think, is this opening shot where they fired. We learned from the IDF that they fired on 3 simultaneous meetings, hoping to decapitate the leadership of the Iranian government. And we don't know the outcome of those strikes, but that might be one reason to the elements of surprise to catch those leaders meeting at a time that they didn't think the U.S. would strike.
Thank you, Jennifer. Come on back with more news when you get it. Jennifer Griffin, live in Washington, D.C., watching the military front. Thank you. Dana.
And we have a chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yingst, on the ground in Tel Aviv. He has an update for us now. Trey, I think we're entering the 10th hour?
It would appear, yes, at least.
And Trey, you've been with us all along. What is your update at this moment?
Yeah, Dana, good morning, or good afternoon, rather. We are learning more about what took place this morning from the Israelis. They say it was the largest sortie in the history of the state of Israel. 200 fighter jets, a military source tells Fox News, participated in the opening strikes. 500 Iranian military targets, according to this official, in both West and central Iran were struck. And we do understand that the IDF fighter jets dropped hundreds of munitions on these sites. As Jennifer notes, we know that many of them were deep underground. The Iranians were looking to keep their leadership out of harm's way. But officials here telling Fox News they went after not only Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, but also Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian. We do not know the outcome of those strikes, as the battlefield assessment is still underway. I want to show you some video I was able to capture from our balcony here of some of the interceptions that were taking place early last hour as the Iranians launched a new barrage of ballistic missiles at Tel Aviv. This city has come under attack more than 6 times over the past hour and a half as the Iranians are looking to overwhelm Israeli air defense systems. And you can see in that video there that I took on the phone a massive amount of interceptors being fired at these missiles. Oftentimes when they're intercepted overhead, the large pieces of shrapnel have to be intercepted because they pose a threat to people on the ground. The 10 million people that live in Israel have spent the majority of the day in bomb shelters. We have heard sirens off and on since this morning as the Iranians launched their counterattack. We're also getting new information out of the Gulf today where Qatar is responding, condemning the strikes on their country. According to officials, 44 missiles and 8 drones so far have targeted Qatar. We also know that Kuwait, Bahrain, the UAE,
Welcome in, Jim
and Saudi
Rat.
Arabia
Welcome in.
also
Good to
came
see you.
under attack in this Iranian counter-response. Guys?
Trey, thank you so much. I don't, Bill, do you have a question for
No,
Trey?
I'm good for now.
Trey, we'll let you go and
Yeah.
continue reporting. Thank you for that update. More to come from
Yeah, we have not heard from Mike Pompeo yet. The former Secretary of State now joins our coverage here. Also, Fox News contributor. Sir, welcome to our coverage here, and thank you for your time. Give us your assessment of what you're seeing unfold. And if you could, can you please explain to our audience, in your view, what does success look like here?
Well, Bill and Dan, it's great to be here with you on this truly historic day. President Trump's decision to finally take out this massive threat to the United States of America is
massive threat. He's right.
Necessary, and it
Massive
appears now
threat
just
to the United States.
A dozen hours into this, largely successful today. It doesn't mean there won't be problems ahead, but make no mistake about it. If you just look at the balance of what's happened in the first dozen hours, apparently one civilian death, in spite of the Iranians firing into half a dozen Muslim countries. These are their Muslim nations being attacked by the Iranians, but largely ineffective so far. Second, a big coalition has developed as a result of that. The Europeans are closer to where they need to be. The Gulf Arab states are now saying, yep, they understand the real threat comes from Iran and not from Jerusalem. And you've seen the United States demonstrate its power in just the opening hours to take on hundreds of targets in a massive salvo. So, the first 12 hours, I think President Trump will be quite happy with the outcome. There is a lot more work to do. And when you think about how this ends, I'll say, first of all, how it shouldn't end. It shouldn't end with the administration and the world deciding enough is enough and the Ayatollah can stay in power and let's go cut a deal through the Omanis.
Thank you, guys.
That would be a really dangerous outcome for the Iranian people, for the Gulf, and for the United States of America. This ends with the regime in tatters, with institutional trust broken, and the Ayatollah no longer in control. It ends with the Iranian people now doing all the good work that they need to do, and it ends with a nation that no matter who ends up taking control, in the days
folks,
after the
welcome.
fall,
First of
this
all,
regime
I'm Sal, your
will
host.
go on.
Let me just bring everybody up to date. U.S. and Israel attacked Iran late last night, early morning hours of East Coast. Now, this is we are witness history, folks. This is history. Now, said that, wars can be complex, and we are at war with the regime of Iran. But the people were begging President Trump, U.S. military, and all of us to pray and hope that they can make changes, because these people were just, there was no freedom. The economy was tanking. So the only worry to me is there's a few of them left. I haven't heard exactly who. And when they're desperate, we don't know what could be up their sleeve. Meaning, if you are there with one or two of the regime left and you have the capability of shooting missiles, I'm sure we will intercept most of them, but anything is possible. But at the end of the day, and our prayers and thoughts are with our military and the Iranian people. And hopefully they're buckled in bunkers or being safe. And I'm sure they're scared, but at the same time, they're probably happy. I think they're scared, but on the other side of them, they're probably saying, they're crying. They're crying. Imagine, folks, I want to just turn the camera around. Imagine we have so much freedom, in the United States of America. A lot of people don't want to live here because they either don't like President Trump or they don't like a Democrat president or whatever it might be. End of the day, we have so much freedom here. But President Trump is going to go down, and this can go down very well, history. Like somebody said about 10 minutes ago, 40 years plus this has been happening with Iran. They're calling it Operation Epic Fury. Here is the target. Here is the target. Boom. Right here. So, our prayers are with the people. Trump has made it clear. He said to the people last night on social media, he said, pretty much, take guard, stay inside. And he made the words, we are at war. But again, it's for those who maybe haven't been keeping up, this is not war with Iran. See, we're not at war with Iran. We were not at war with Venezuela. We were taking out the bad people in Venezuela. I don't know how the hell, it was a drug cartel. And now we're taking out 40 years of miserable, these people. There's people that have moved here in Las Vegas, where I live. These Persian people. Some support Trump, some don't. And they say, my goodness, thank God we have a leader. And these are people who don't even particularly care about President Trump. But, nonetheless, this could go down as history, as first time in 40 plus years that we can change the regime. Now, the question is, I have to you guys, and I've asked this before, we're pretty confident Trump has a plan. Marco Rubio, who's a genius, by the way, has a plan. Hopefully that plan to put in a regime. Now, how do we trust that regime? We just don't know. But they sure, Marco Rubio, for the last year, actually Marco Rubio has probably been watching this for the last 6-7 years, even before Trump was president again, right? But I'm sure they're pretty confident that they know who they're going to put in. But there's always, I just want to be honest with my viewers, nothing is set and dry. You can put in somebody and 2 years later can be right back and torture the people again. So we just got to hope that, that it works out well. All right, I'll read some comments here. Once again, U.S. Israel attacked Iran overnight into the mornings. This is going to go on for days, according to some of the media coverage. This is not going to be something that ends in a few hours. It could go on for a week, maybe longer. When I say longer, in the sense of trying to get the regime all worked out and making sure that they got everybody, that no one escaped, meaning who are those, no one, any of those people who've been doing these horrific things to the people. So Trump has gave them plenty of chances. It's not like he just went in and said, that's it. He's given them plenty of chances, just like he did from that dictator Maduro in Venezuela. So they're all on news breaks right now. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Trump, I've told you, what have I said? A lot of you know this already. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. What have I said? Trump likes to have these strikes on what day? Friday night, Saturday morning-ish. He just does it because some say because the stock market is closed for the weekend. Others would say it's when he does it. But here we are at war with Iran regime. Let me complete that sentence. With the regime, not Iran. They're not taking out innocent people. We're not blowing up Iran. All right? We're taking out their facilities and the sources where these regimes might be staying. That's what's going on. And Israel as well. As far as the other countries like UK, they're not involved. Okay, don't get involved. UK's made it clear we're not involved in this. They wanted to come out. What we got here? Sirens and just a lot of sirens going off. They're getting some phone notifications there. I don't know how the hell they got the phones going on with all those missiles being shot, but nonetheless, underneath the phone it goes, alert, alert, bunker in, bunker into the people. What are the odds of Iranian cyber retaliation to the U.S. based on in Europe and the Middle East as well? So, you're going to hear some of these other countries are scared, like UK. No defense to the UK people. But to me, for the UK Prime Minister to come on and say, make it clear we're not involved. Come on. Anyhow, that's just me. That's me. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I think a leader who trusts the United States of America would just stay quiet. You don't have to say you're involved. Just don't say nothing. Or how about this? I stand behind the United States of America. How about say that? You know why? When you stand behind America and President Trump, whoever the leader is, because when the United States does well, economy-wise, then UK does, Italy does, Germany does. So, I don't know. I don't think he should have came on and said anything, but that's my opinion. All right, what else we got cooking? I'll read some comments here. One channel said 90,000 Iranians killed so far. I did not hear that, Cindy Lou. 90,000 Iranians killed thus far, meaning through the overnight, or in the protest. Yeah, I mean, most recently, there's so many people have, I don't know if it's 90,000 or whatever, how many people, but it's been many people losing their lives in the protesters, yeah. Yeah, it's been so many people. So I want to tell you, I had one lady, a client of mine. She's married to an Iranian. I'll tell you a good story. Not a good story. I'll tell you that story in a minute. Hold on.
To join our conversation here. These are the naval assets the United States military.
This is important here. Hold on.
Over the past month's time, if you listen to the president talk, he talked about an armada, and that's exactly what there is now, floating at sea. Okay, Gulf of
Welcome in,
Oman,
Noah.
Persian Gulf, Arabian Sea. You've got the Red Sea, and then the Eastern Mediterranean. I would look at two things right now. There's a lot here to look at. Right, two things: the aircraft carriers, the USS Abraham Lincoln, and then the USS Gerald Ford. This is significant.
Yeah, right here.
It's the largest aircraft carrier in the world. It's nuclear powered, which means it can stay at sea as long as it can still function, right? Like a nuclear submarine.
City girl.
Nuclear submarine never has to come back to port so long as it still operates, because it operates under the own power that it generates. The Ford, however, has been deployed for about 8 months. It was off the coast of Venezuela when Maduro was captured.
What's going on upstate?
Right? You might remember the Wall Street Journal piece from
this is the big
U.S. sailors on board saying that they were weary, and the Ford was ordered to go from Venezuela to the Eastern Mediterranean, where it arrived just about 24 to 36 hours ago. And once that was in place, we saw the movement toward what we have been watching now for the past several hours. The attack began. This is Iran. This is all the nuclear sites. You might remember from Midnight Hammer last June, Fordo, Isfahan.
Remember when they took out the nukes right here?
They say they've been watching
Fordo, right here.
So the reason why they made the move now, it's been explained to us that there were satellite images that showed there was activity at these plants, and the U.S. insists that the Iranians have not given up on that nuclear plan. And there was an effort right now to go ahead and rebuild and restore. My bad. I'm sorry about that. That's a mispunch. Here we are again. That they were trying to restore the military plan and program and move it forward. So that was the rationale. Let me clear. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. A little bit out of practice on that. But I can take you to this right now.
Oh, I apologize too. Hold on.
Tehran and Tel Aviv,
Sorry.
all right, separated by about 1,200 miles. The Iranians have said their ballistic missile program, of which there are 2,000 to 3,000 apparently. But how many have been fired, how many have been used versus how many drones, we do not know. What Central Command is saying that the U.S. military has already intercepted hundreds of missiles and drones. So as the missile flies out of Tehran, it's 1,200 miles. But there are numerous bases here in western Iran. All right, so now you reduce your distance about 800 miles, and we believe in the early hours of the initial strikes on behalf of the Israeli Air Force and the U.S. Air Force that these areas here were targeted. And the reason why that is because they want to take out the forward-leaning ballistic missiles in the western part of Iran that could threaten Israel first, and also numerous bases here in Kuwait, in Bahrain, in Dubai, that the U.S. military
Dubai's right here
for quite some time. So that's the state of play. Let's bring in Rebecca Heinrichs to fill in the blanks here, senior fellow Hudson Institute, and welcome to our coverage. What can you add as of this hour, where we know we're not even a half day into Operation Epic Fury?
Sure, Bill, good to be here. So it looks like the way the United States is carrying out this military campaign with the Israelis is this first wave is really meant to blind and confuse the military leaders and the regime leaders. So as you pointed out, Bill, the United States has struck is targeting those missile areas, those missile sites, so that we want to protect our U.S. forces in the region. But we're also going over logistics hubs while the Israelis are taking out regime leaders, IRGC leaders. This makes it very, very difficult for Iran to think clearly and to conduct counter responses. Another thing that's really interesting we learned from the October 2024 Iranian missile strikes against Israel is that their missiles, Bill,
the smart lady right here, smart lady,
at hitting what they want to hit. They're not very precise. And so my assessment is that the United States is pretty confident in our ability to move in very quickly, take out what we can. Again, as you pointed out, the missile force is significantly degraded from the Israeli strikes last summer. And so now what the United States is trying to do is make sure that this first wave takes out the most difficult aspect of what the Iranians can do in the region.
Rebecca, one of the things that President Trump and Netanyahu have both said today is that they're asking the Iranians people to seize this moment and to take over the leadership of the country. How does that work? I mean, obviously there are people there that have been fighting, that all the protests in the street, but do they have the support, the ability? I mean, Khomeini has been in charge for 37 years. So
Yeah,
it is curious to me how many people are there on the ground that are able to actually do what the president
A great
and
question.
Netanyahu are providing the opportunity
Very
for
good
right
question.
So this is a really important point, Dana. So President Trump, I think, gave one of his best, most compelling, powerful speeches that he presented last night in explaining what the United States' efforts were meant to do here in Iran. But he left the actual aspect of this to taking the regime over and setting their own destiny to the Iranian people. The United States of America is not poised to launch a ground invasion to establish a regime and to do nation building in Iran. That is not happening. What President Trump has said is we are creating the conditions for you. The way this practically happens, Dana, if it's realistically going to happen, is you have regime heads fall. You have the supreme leader killed, which he may have already been killed. We have not had that confirmed. But if you have the top leaders and his son,
It has not been confirmed yet.
now have a vacuum. Some of these leaders, IRGC leaders, can defect. That's one option. And you heard President Trump say, if you are a member of the IRGC or of a leader, a military leader, you will have immunity if you come to the United States and lay down your arms. I'm sure that we are now looking for something like that to take over and keep control, because before we can get to anything like democracy or a better flourishing society for the Iranians, you need to have a country.
Matthew Jones, how is Matthew Jones doing on this Saturday?
In the mullahs to
Appreciate your support, my
keep
friend.
control
Matthew
of the
Jones,
country and turn it back into a better
9065.
Rebecca, Jack Keane has warned us that the operation here could last several weeks. Do you see it that way? And if so, what could we expect in the coming days? Let's start with that.
So first of all, I think that of course General Keane is right that it could last several weeks. I think President Trump is objective oriented, so he's looking to see what these military objectives are that he can achieve at a low cost to troops in the region, and that's been very important to President Trump. He of course said that there could be casualties, but he doesn't want them, and so he's going to be looking for that sweet spot of what can we get done at a low cost to the troops in the region. I also think that President Trump has said he has indicated that this might last some time.
Leon, how are you, my friend?
Anything other than that.
Good to see my subscribers, my loyal subscribers. Nice to see new subscribers.
They should know this is going to take as long as
If you enjoy the content, thank you so much, and hit the like. As we will probably be covering this, I'm assuming the question was, could this go on for weeks? And we just don't know. I'm assuming it's going to go through the weekend, probably into next week.
Of the release of political prisoners at this point.
Oh, good question.
Even though they killed reportedly up to 32,000 people within the last month, we know that the prisons are filled with people who are wanted to fight for their own freedom, or at least were standing up for basic human rights.
Yeah, I mean, great point, Dana. I mean, President Trump confirmed in his speech that we think more than 30,000 innocent Iranians have been massacred by the Iran regime. You and I have discussed this before. President Trump set a red line. If the regime killed protesters, the United States would intervene. President Trump has enforced his red line. I was very confident that he would, not just in this particular case, but because for the implications regionally and geopolitically for President Trump to communicate. If I use those words, I mean it. And so I think that, is it possible that political prisoners can be released? That's going to be up to the Iranian people. I think once it's safer for them to come out of their bomb shelters or come out of hiding, you may see some other things like that happen, Dana.
Okay, Rebecca, the 12-day war was June of this past summer, right? And if you recall then, the Iranians held back in their response. And it really wasn't until day 2 or day 3 or day 4 when the missile
Linda,
barrage was
amen.
to Israel. The reason I bring that up.
Thank you for that comment, Linda.
What we have seen
Thank
in
you.
the response on behalf of the Iranians. Maybe it suggests something, or maybe they're just going to repeat their pattern. But when the
God
US
bless our
military
troops,
says no
Linda
American
added. Thank you
casualties,
so much,
no
Linda, for
damage
those
so far,
words.
After hundreds of Iranian
All right,
missiles
so
and
where are we
rockets
at?
have been launched. What we don't know is, of those hundreds, how many were drones and how many were missiles? And I think it's very important because it appears to me...
How many were drones? How many were missile? Majority, what they're reporting, what we're seeing now with all the HD 4K TV, and then the media there is they've been intercepted, majority. However, again, I'll say this and welcome in everybody. Appreciate all new subscribers, all my loyal subscribers, and thank you moderators for being here. All of you know who you are.
rendered them useless and taken them
Make it clear. There's still regime left. They have not got them all. Will they? Yes. The problem is when they get down to one or two very desperately, my opinion, they're capable of doing anything. If they're just two of them left and they know they have no chance, what are they going to do? They're going to try to save their ass. And what would that do? They're going to strike. They're going to shoot off anything possible. Just don't know. Nobody knows. I mean, they can be shooting off missiles. We can intercept majority of them. Some might reach Israel. Some might take out some of our military ships out there or base, and we can lose some military. So as I think it was Linda, our prayers are with the troops. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But wars, and this is a war. It's a war with the regime. President Trump said that himself. I'm not going to get here and go back and forth on the debate. It is a war with the regime. It's not a war like taking out the Iranian people. All right. So will this go on for days? Probably. Certainly for the weekend. Will this go on for weeks? I'm not so sure. I'm thinking that this will probably be over. My guess would be a week or two. I know they're saying weeks. When they say weeks, I think the weeks they're saying is because they got to have a plan. They already have a plan and hope that they can back up another government in a sense. And that could be complex because they might have the 3 or 4 that they want to put involved. You can't have the people control it, or could they? And then that can take a while, and then you have to hope that you can trust. So it's not that easy, but I'm confident with President Trump. In my opinion, thank God that we have a leader, and also more importantly, Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is a big piece, guys. Never underestimate Marco Rubio. In my opinion, he will be the next president of the United States. I know a lot of you love J.D. Vance. I like him too. But I'm telling you right now, Marco Rubio is just, it's not about him being smarter. He's been involved as a senator in Florida. He is very good negotiator too. So he knows what's going on with the plan. Now, could this all backfire? Possible. When I say backfire, yes, you can put in certain wrong people, but I have faith in President Trump, and I believe I'm very confident that this will be over in about a week or two. Anything's possible. So the smoke rises from Iran capital as U.S. attacks. Iran has attacked back. They have attacked us back. Oh, thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Felt like getting dressed up today. But yeah, anything's possible. But nonetheless, again, I'll say this one last time. You guys have Persian friends, I'm sure, right? By the way, let us know where you're from. And Persian people, hardworking people, very smart people who are living here. Some are my age, some are younger, some are older. And they will say this. Some support President Trump, others don't. But what they do say, both of them, is this. Wow, we're very fortunate we have Trump on this particular issue saving our family. There's family there. Saving their family, they say. This is on both sides of the Persian people, Iranians who've been here in the United States and certainly Las Vegas, where I live, for a very long time. And they're very confident. They might not support President Trump on all the issues. I'm not going to get into that. But man, how quickly they're supporting President Trump in the United States of America, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, and so on and so forth. Pete Hegseth on attacking Iran, because if a lot of them feel if we didn't do this last night, early in the morning hours, or say we waited another 6 months, who knows what would happen? More people would lose their lives. So that's where we're at. Hey, Dustin Nunez, I want to say thank you for being here last night. My dad's from Mexico and my mom is from England. Oh, that's pretty. So I have family that live in England. Dustin Nunez, who was here with us in the early morning hours last night. Thanks for sharing that. Very Mexico and England. Welcome in, Dustin. Hello, Catholic. Good to see you, my friend. Good morning, Sal. Trump supporter here from Canada. God bless President Trump. The best most righteous armed forces on the wicked world. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Welcome in, Catholic. Appreciate you guys being here on this Saturday morning. Appreciate Dustin Nunez and Janine and some others. We had Lemon J, our moderator and good friend, on here last night, commenting. So that's a good sign. Lemon J, a supporter, a big supporter and a moderator on here. It was good to see Lemon J last night. And shout out to the other moderators as well. Let me get some water. Just ignore some of the spam, guys, the best you can. All right, what else we have over here? Yeah, so that's where we're at, guys. And now I got to tell you, you hear that chess. Trump is playing chess. He's 1 piece, 2 pieces ahead. He's about 4 pieces ahead, I think. And I have confidence. I have confidence in our military. And I have confidence on President Trump, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance. And the outcome on this is going to be great for certainly the Iranian people. Imagine. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you guys. So I had a friend. She's an American married to an Iranian who went there years ago before COVID. And she had her toenails painted. And they were looking at her and they approached her. That they didn't hurt her, but they gave her, they threatened her. So imagine women can't even paint their toenails, or imagine you just can't voice your opinion on anything there. And they can take you out and unalive you at any moment. And look at the protests we had. Look how many people lost their life. So this is way overdue. And thank goodness we have a president that is, who's probably digest this. I'm sure he's had his thoughts, let's be honest. But at the end of the day, he said, we're going in, we're helping the people. It's not good. We don't want people to die. It's not good for economy. He is a businessman. He knows what's best because the whole country. I don't understand how UK, Italy, and Germany are not behind the United States. They got to be behind the United States on this. Got to. The only country, the only people I would say are not on our side is China. China would be the only that I can see that are not on our side, but I'm not 100% sure that they're all in on Iran either. Okay. Other than that, Russia doesn't want to get involved. They have their hands full right now with Ukraine, and they have their problems. So, but other than China,
when he arrives, you of course have the large motorcade, and often attracts a large crowd on the causeway going out to Mar-a-Lago. But since his arrival, presumably until he departs, things have been very quiet, and so it's really that messaging that came out with his statement, that video that was issued overnight. In addition to the messaging about what the U.S. objectives are, laying it out for the American people, he also was directing his message at the people of Iran, saying that they have a window of opportunity to take back their country. Take a listen.
Listen to this, guys.
The hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
And the president added, quote, "This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass." Back to you guys.
A moment for action. Do not let it pass. Take shelter. Bombs will be everywhere. Ken Big Fish and welcome in. Very confident. Those words are very confident. You can feel, ladies and gentlemen, can you hear when somebody talks how confident they are? Is he perfect, President Trump?
Meantime,
Absolutely not. But man, he's very confident on Marco Rubio and the leadership in the military. They've been working on this for many, many months, if not years, and playing chess. And he's saying take shelter, bombs everywhere, meaning, don't go outside. We'll have this resolved. I know the media is saying it could be weeks. I'm telling you, I'm not so sure it's going to be weeks. I think it could be more like a week. It's going to be a couple days, certainly in the weekend. But the most complicated thing is going to take out and make sure that we have the regimes out. Iran officials can't confirm. Hold on. Iran officials can't confirm if leaders are alive. I don't believe them. They're news outlets. I would assume if we're still striking that, there's still some of the regime out there. They'll be gone. They'll find them. They'll take them out and have them unalive or captured. We got VIP auction room in the house today. Appreciate your and I wanted to say thank you, Ken Big Fishin. I haven't seen you in a while. Appreciate your membership. Continue your membership. Appreciate that very, very much. God bless the Iranian people. We are at war, but not with Iran, the people, the regime. And it's not like we're blowing them up. It is serious. It is a situation. And yes, there's risk for our military. Our prayers are with our military. But nonetheless, I think we're in a good situation. Now, said that, anything's possible. Hello from sunny California. Trump in Israel. City girl. Yeah, it's also sunny and hot here, City girl, in here meaning Las Vegas. So this is the guy they want. This old guy here. I find him. Got to find him. Where is he? Where is he? Where the hell is he? Or did they get him already? Absolutely, Catholic. Anytime you have a war, whether it's with a country, a regime, or a situation with Maduro or anything like that, you have consequences. They hit his house and made it be gone, Janine says. Ken Big Fishin says they have enough bunkers. He is still underground. What's your thoughts? Is he underground? Is he unalive? Is he unalive? Is he alive? Is he somewhere? Did he move on somewhere? Did he go off? Did he move out? What do you think? He's in a spider hole. Man's a spider hole. Where is he at? And who else is out there? Is there anybody else out there that they might want to make unalive? So until then, we will continue striking along with Israel. Not Netanyahu. I always have trouble pronouncing his names. You guys can laugh at me. Netanyahu speaks on the Operation Epic Fury. Netanyahu. So we'll have to hear what he has to say. That's coming up soon. So we'll wait for him and then we'll take it from there. As Israel and United States and President Trump has went into Iran late last night, early morning hours Saturday, as Trump is known to do these kind of things, whether it's taking out the nukes in Iran or Maduro or anything else. He'll do it on a Friday and very quickly. President Trump's very quick in Operation Forces and has a great team, very confident on his team, from J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and Pete Hegseth, and the rest of them. We will see, as Catholic says, anytime you have war, whether it's with regime or country, there's always risk. Even President Trump said that himself. But the military, God bless our men and women. Anybody's a veteran on here, God bless you. You're a better man and woman than I am. And there's a risk. And there's also a risk that things could end up being a mess. I'm going to tell you this. I don't think you're going to see boots on the ground there. And as far as an attack on the United States soil, the chances are very slim to none. However, yes, there's chances that they can strike some of the ships out and the military bases out there. Absolutely can happen. And I guess the mystery is, if they're desperate and there's one or two left, again, I continue to say this, we don't know what's capable. I don't know, how do I say this? I'm not even 100% sure that President Trump knows, but he does know this. We have an amazing military, and I'm sure we can intercept 97% of what they're shooting. That might be a little high, but maybe like you get the message. So I'm pretty sure. Cindy, welcome in. This was a long time coming, folks. A long time coming. I believe our loved ones, my loved ones, I have Democrat grandparents, Republican, are probably saying, if they can talk, they're probably saying, wow, it finally happened. All right. Let me see here. Hey, welcome in, Mark. Iranian citizens are dancing in the streets while bombing taking place, says it all. Yeah, I seen some of the younger people. Well, think of this, Mark. And thank you for your comment, Mark. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well, and happy Saturday. Think about this, Mark. Whether you're 21 years old, 15 years old, or an 80-year-old woman, and you love your country, and all of a sudden you know that the United States of America and President Trump has now at least trying, more than trying, and taking out a regime that's been killing people, economy that they're starving, literally starving, don't have a choice where to walk, where to go. So anyhow, yeah, it tells it all. Like you're cheering, you're like, bombs all over the place. You're like, oh my God, America's helping us. They're crying. Grown men, tough guys, women, children are crying literally of joy, scared but joy. That, my goodness, do you believe we have a United States are helping us out? Well, who's that guy over there that they say so many bad things? Well, his name is President Trump. Oh, really? Really? Well, yeah. That man's President Trump. Oh, what is he doing? He's actually has the, excuse me, ladies, he has the balls to help us out. Yes, he does. So, you know, say what you want about President Trump. He's not perfect. He's not God. But I tell you what, he's somebody who's trying. So he is trying. All right. We're moments away from, here we go, Netanyahu to speak. God bless Trump and the, somebody said there, and the armed forces. Yes. I got to hit some water, guys. Bombs away. Bombs away. Not on the people. Capture the regime. Hey, welcome in, Jim Rat. I don't think I said hi to Jim Rat. Maybe I have, but Jim Rat. Yes, absolutely. I'm reading your comment. Yep, Mark, I'm reading your comment as well. Just Captain 76 just read your comment. Leon? Absolutely. U.S. and Israel strike Iran. Late hours of Friday, early hours. We covered it last night. I was ready to pack it in. Whiskey Tango. I have not said hi to you. Welcome in. Yeah, we covered it last night, and we covered it for about 2 hours. Norma, welcome in. Does he keep up with Putin? What you think? Keep up with Putin regarding ending the Iran? Yeah. You mean fighting for peace? Yes. But Putin has been since. I'm not going to get into the whole thing about the Democrats, but Putin has been changed, and that's very complicated. But I'm really optimistic that they're going to come to some kind of ceasefire there. Wow, look at this, guys. Wow, this was pretty wild. Watch this. Whoa. Isn't that amazing? You did not see this in the 70s. What's up, Mr. Ozzy Ray? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you enjoyed that photo I sent you. Look at that. We didn't see that last. Look at this. Wow. Bombs away. Amazing. Scary. Somebody says scary. I mean, think about this. This is crazy on what we can see now. It was simple times back then, but man, as the technology grows, think about this, guys, what we're going to have 30 years from now, 40 years from now. You know what I mean? Welcome in, welcome in. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their weekend. Once again, overnight, last night, we covered it. I was ready to pack it in, and then I got a notification that we attacked Iran, Israel. President Trump came on, said we are at war. These are not my words. These were President Trump. But when he says the war, we are at war with the regime. Now, who's alive? Well, we don't know. We don't know who is still alive. But I can tell you this. They're going to make sure that they get everybody that's on that list. Thank you, Aaron Scott. Ozzy says they can take U.S. out from anywhere. Lemon J, good to see you, and hope you're feeling better. Lemon J, Lemon J was on here last night. People were saying, Sal, don't you sleep? I do sleep. It's important, but I wanted to cover it. I wanted to cover it as we got a commercial break there. That was pretty wild stuff, guys. All right, so Mr. Paul Warner, welcome in. Trump gave Iran a choice. Yep. We can do it the hard way or the easy way. And yeah, you know, and what Paul just commented, you know, I'm sure, you know, Trump's been reaching out to them, but I know back at Trump's head, he probably knew that it was going to come to this. And here it is. And once again, the people in Iran in the streets as they're getting bombed, not the people, are celebrating. They're scared, of course, because there's bombs. And Trump has said in his speech last night, this morning, excuse me, take shelter, but we're going to give you the freedom back. But they're happy with joy for those who are coming in. I cannot imagine. Honestly, I could not imagine living in a country that you can't do anything without a chance of them taking and you becoming unalive for YouTube. It's unfortunate that Israel people have to pay. Yeah. But it was a long time coming. And again, I'll say this one last time in here. I have Persian friends, people I know in Las Vegas, and I'm sure you guys have Persian friends who have loved ones there. They haven't spoke to in a very long time. Maybe most recently they got some conversation that their parents are alive. And unfortunately, some of them are unalive, deceased. But imagine you were able to move on. And by the way, Iranians, they're very smart. They love taking chances, coming to the United States, starting a business. But anyhow, nonetheless, imagine even some of the Persians who don't particularly support Trump, but they do say this. It's pretty amazing that we have a president of military that really care about helping our families that are there, that are losing their lives and losing their freedom, and the economy that's collapsed. Don't know where their meal is going to be. And we have leadership that's willing to try on a Friday late night, Saturday morning, during the daytime. And I wouldn't read too much into why President Trump did it during the daytime versus nighttime. Yes, there's a strategy to it, probably, but I just think it was the perfect time. And I think he was a perfect time. He knew that this was the time to do it, and that's that. Absolutely, Janine. And you're gonna have so many people be talking about this on YouTube, Facebook, and it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome in the sense that we're bringing freedom to the people. Sure, there's going to be consequences. We can lose some of our military, and of course, as Ozzy says, some of the Israel people, bombs attacking them. But we're going to probably intercept majority of them. Here is Trump once again for those who haven't seen him. I'll show this one last time.
This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight.
He's right.
Now you have a president who is giving you what you want.
So that was about 12 hours ago, coming up on 10:30 in the evening in Iran, and these are the targets so far on behalf of the U.S. and Israeli strikes. Tehran was one, all these towns here in western Iran.
These are the ones we're attacked.
Here, Strait of Hormuz, as its thinnest point, it's about 21 miles wide. Every day, anywhere between 15 to 20 million barrels of oil comes through that part of the Persian Gulf. In addition here, with regard to U.S. forces, you have the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, massive air base. That apparently has been targeted by the Iranians. We're waiting still.
Yeah, I like that, Ozzy, right?
You've got a massive Army base and Air Force base
Trump's
there.
cap.
The U.S. Navy in Bahrain has been established there. All these bases, really, it's a bit ugly the way I'm drawing here, but I'll move back over here. All these bases have been established at least 30 years, right? Like in 1995, 1996, and the U.S. has had quite the presence in that part of the world since then. They've been targeted by the Iranians. So far, it does not appear to be much of a success at this point. But again, half a day in as of now.
And we've been talking to several of our guests, like what to expect in the next 12 hours, because the original strike was in daylight. That is unusual.
Yes.
But it must have been intelligence directed. And so when President Trump says to everybody, it's dangerous to be outside, stay in sheltered, don't go out, but also to take over your government. You've got to imagine that people are kind of anxious about what the leadership
Take over your government, President Trump. Do you hear that? Take over your government. Love that, huh?
About 40 minutes ago, and terrific analysis that she gave us.
Take over your government. Man, that's just amazing, guys. If you don't get a chill in your bones right now of that, take over your government. Long time coming, 40 plus years.
Had and the capability they had to break the defense of the Israelis. All right, so it's 9 o'clock in the evening now in Israel. One of the things to watch is whether or not the Iranians make a choice to go ahead and launch more toward Israel, and whether or not they can be successful.
Or also whether or not they have the capability anymore. One of the things that the foreign minister's spokesperson said is they cannot confirm where their leadership is.
That's right.
And so they might not be. We don't know that yet. We're going to have a lot of news coverage, up to the minute reports all across the world, and we will see you maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we don't know where their leadership is, folks, but we'll be. I appreciate you guys liking, subscribing, and make sure you have all notifications set if you enjoy the content. But they don't know where the leadership is, so they're going to continue their resources there. That again, President Trump's playing that game of chess. Marco Rubio, they'll get them. They'll get them all. And then the next step. What's the next step? Next step is bringing freedom to the people. Get in some people you trust. Now, the complicated thing for me is who the hell do you trust? Who do you bring in? Who will be the who will be running, so to speak, the leadership of Iran and going forward? You know, will it be short term, long term? What do you guys think? Do you have confidence it'll work out well, or will it just be the same? You know, maybe it'll be nice for a month, maybe it'll be nice for a year, but then all of a sudden we're right back to square one. We just don't know. But we had to take this risk, so to speak. Oh, here's Netanyahu. Did I say his name right? Netanyahu.
Speaking amid the joint strikes, with both sides making it very clear that their goal is to eliminate imminent threats by toppling the regime. We have a packed lineup ahead, including Brett Baer, Victoria Coates, former Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz, and Brigadier General John.
All right, they're just going to have their panel on there, guys. So I don't really want to listen to all the panel right now. No defense to Fox or the panel. They're very, very smart people. But we'll go ahead and chat. We'll chit-chat for a little bit. Let's chit-chat. Let's chit-chat. So, yeah, it's going to be a little complicated. Not complicated, but complex on who the hell you bring in. It might go well. It'd be wonderful if it all goes well. And you bring in people that are young. You almost got to be young. And hope that these they feel different and can bring freedom, can run a decent economy or a great economy. And because we can't get involved. That would be amazing accomplishment for their future, for kids that are born yesterday there, will grow and be very old and say, my goodness, that really happened in 2026. That was happening since 1976. And a President Trump who came in and made it safer in Israel for all of us. It will be history, but it won't be as that simple. Won't be that simple. Time will come, but I do think this was the right time. I really do. I have confidence in President Trump. All the other presidents, I didn't have confidence. That is from our loyal subscriber and member, Dustin Nunez. Well said, well said. Yeah, I do too. I do too. All right, so that's what we have, guys. Iran launches back at the U.S. bases. It's possible that they can destroy a base. Our prayers and thoughts are with our military because this is a war. This is a war with the regime, and anything's possible. So our deepest prayers are with our military and their family. It's got to be very scary for the spouse and children knowing that their family or their fathers or the moms are there fighting for us. Never forget that, guys. Anything is possible to take out one of their base. Also, we're praying for Israel, and and who is very close by there. But I think they have the setup where they're going to intercept majority, but not all. You can't just intercept every missile. This is not a video game. This isn't like Atari. I'm showing my age. This is real deal. So it's not that I'm against this, but Trump said it himself, President Trump. Anything is possible when you have a war. So with that said, guys, I will keep everybody up to date. Make sure you have your notifications on, guys. I appreciate the likes. We had 111 strikes. Excuse me. 111 likes, not strikes. So, Lemon J, it's just a pleasure seeing your name light up on here. You don't know. So thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you, Mike, Janine, Aaron, Scott, Crystal Richmond. Hey, shout out to Crystal. Hey, Ken Big Fish. Always good to see you, my friend. Thank you for your support. Shout out for Crystal yesterday, donating 20 or 30 memberships. and you all know who you are. I appreciate the memberships to the highest tiers, and it really makes me feel good, and my wife, and we're able to we're blessed and fortunate that we can put a smile on some of the homeless people here. Not to get off topic too much, we did a video yesterday on homeless, and put a smile and on them. We will be out and about today again, and helping out as many as we're able to do. We try to stretch it out as long as we can. So thank you so much, and thank you, Ken Big Fish. It's been 6 months. Thanks for helping the people. Hey, everybody say thank you to Ken Big Fish in 6 months already. Thank you for everything you do and all your support on behalf of your support across YouTube. We appreciate you. And there's a lot of great supporters on here. Make sure you support your other YouTube channels, guys. The ones you enjoy. Hit them a like. It's free. And support their channels as well. As we will continue covering this breaking news here and praying for the best. Praying for our military, President Trump, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth. I pray for you guys. Also, on other news, guys, we're not completely finished with Nancy Guthrie. I'm still praying, being optimistic, and hoping for the best leads of her whereabouts or closure on that case. We will keep you up to date. I thought I read something today. I'm not sure if it's true. Not only whereabouts, we'll be covering that as well on Nancy Guthrie that we've covered a lot. Also, I have something coming up on Monday that I think you guys might enjoy. I hope it goes well. I hope the channel does well, because I really hope it's for you guys. I know you guys like to interact, and at the end of the day, we can continue our success with the homeless people. But I have a surprise. We're going to be covering, I'll just give you a sneak peek. We're going to be covering Warner Brothers. CNN will be the end of CNN as President Trump, his involvement with Warner Brothers, Netflix. You guys are saying, what is he talking about? Well, I got to get a little bit more information and get the correct names and all that. Is you probably don't know, or maybe you do know. There's a big deal going on with Netflix, Warner Brothers, President Trump, and some of these liberal channels like CNN and CBS. And so we'll be talking about that probably going into next week at some point. I think you might enjoy it, but it's going to get some more information on it. So we'll continue our latest updates for a small YouTube channel. Hey, real quick, maybe not so small. We just hit 45,000 subscribers last night. So, wow. I had nothing to do with it. You guys do. 45,000 subscribers. That's a big accomplishment. Wow. I mean, some of you probably came on when we had 1,000, 5,000, 20,000 when we were camping. Some of you were with me when I only had 100. I was very new at this. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend. Stay with us, because we're probably going to be back live again. Take care. God bless. Ken Big Fish, and thank you so much for that, renewing that membership. Take care, guys. Thank you. Yes, 45. Thank you. You're one of them, Ken Big Fish. And take care, guys. Lemon J, great to see you. Take care, guys.